Nestle has been in Sri Lanka for over 100 years. We have been committed to enhancing the lives of the local community since the very beginning. Today, we are Sri Lanka's largest private sector buyer of fresh milk. As we look at the smiling faces of thousands of dairy farming families, we know that we have kept the promise we made 30 years ago. Nestle, empowering Sri Lankan dairy farmers.
A very good evening and welcome. This is Newsfirst Weekend Primetime News. A heated argument broke out in Parliament today over the 2015 budget proposals.
අපේ රජයේ සේවකයන්ට 15000කට පඩි වැඩි කරනවායි කියලා. රුපියල් 7810 කරනවායි කියලා.
අපේ පඩිය විතරක් අරගෙන අපිට ණයක් ගන්න බෑ. දැන් මේ අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන ජාතික අයවැය විවාදයකට නෙමෙයි ජාතික අල්ලස් විවාදයකට.
සමහර වෙලාවට කියනවා බොරු කියන්න එපා පොළොව පලාගෙන යයි කියලා.
I'm Ramesh Rugalbandara for News First. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
...2015 budget debate begins.
අපේ පඩිය විතරක් අරගෙන අපිට ණයක් ගන්න. දැන් මේ අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන ජාතික අයවැය විවාදයකට නෙමෙයි ජාතික අල්ලස් විවාදයකට කියලා.
UNP to render their support to the 19th Amendment to the Constitution.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේගේ 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනයට එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ සහයෝගයක් තියෙනවා. පනතක් ගේන්න ඕන නම් නිසි ආකාරයෙන් ඒ පනත ගේනවා.
An official resigns from the Foreign Service following the Geneva tender scandal.
The National Union of Workers has agreed to support President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the upcoming presidential poll. The president's media unit said that the National Union expressed their support at a meeting held at Temple Trees this morning.
The leader of the National Union of Workers, P.D. Gambaram, and several others called on the president this morning. The president's media unit said that the National Union of Workers expressed their appreciation to the program undertaken by the president for the people in the estates. The communique issued by the president's media unit added that the National Union of Workers pledged to work in their full capacity to ensure the president's victory at the future presidential election.
Now, the Divina newspaper, a Sinhala Daily, reports that an official believed to be connected to the contract over the refurbishment of the official resident of Sri Lanka's permanent mission in Geneva has resigned.
According to an article published on the Divina newspaper, an official believed to be connected to the contract relating to the refurbishment of the official residence of the permanent mission in Geneva has resigned from the Foreign Service. The newspaper report goes on to state that it has been revealed that the contract was handed over in contravention to tender procedure. Speaking to News First yesterday, Sri Lanka's former permanent representative in Geneva, Dr. Dayan Jayatilaka, said that an official alone cannot be held responsible for such a major transaction.
Question that arises is, who gave the instruction to Mr. Java? Somebody must ask him. Who gave the instruction? On what authority, on what basis did he decide to renovate the entirety of the official residence? The Foreign Ministry statement says that the approval was granted on the 5th of November of 2009. Who granted that approval?
Meanwhile, in a significant development, the owner of the company Shelvazuk, which undertook the contract to refurbish the official residence of the permanent mission in Geneva, P.T. Raja, made a phone call to News First this evening and expressed the following views.
Our company reputation has been largely damaged internationally. I have never funded the LTTE, nor am I connected to it. I am always in a neutral position. The same goes with our company. The owner of Shelvazug, Thangaraja Raja, has no affiliations. I have proof to establish this. Shelvazug GNDH is a finance and insurance company. We have a new company that is called Innovidin, which is involved in architecture and real estate. That company is called Shelvazug Innovidin. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs paid the money to Shelvazug GNDH, also known as Shelvazug Innovidin GNDH. We have the funds pertaining to that. We have also paid taxes to the Swiss government relating to this deal. We have all the documents to prove our claim. The Swiss Federal Office of Justice has also given us a certification that the owner of Shelvazug has in no way been arrested at any point or location. It adds that he has no criminal record. We are taking legal action to justify our claims. We will present evidence to prove our claims.
PT Thurai Raja also directed a letter to us to verify its authenticity. We at Newsfirst directed it to the Swiss authorities. Newsfirst also attempted to make inquiries over this matter from the Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Pires, during an event held in Angunukola Palace this evening.
JVP North Central Provincial Councillor Vasanta Samarsinghe says that the media also reported about the 10 persons who were arrested on the 11th of January 2011 in connection with affiliations with the LTTE.
Minister Professor G.L. Pires recently said that he inquired from the Swiss Federal Police that he said that a Swiss intelligence officer had said that such an incident did not take place and no such person was arrested. So the Minister of External Affairs is violating international policies by revealing the name of a Swiss intelligence officer. This is a serious crime. Why have we fallen into such a state? This is to prevent the links that Shenuka Seneviratne and the Foreign Ministry had with the LTTE from surfacing. This is the Sunday Leader newspaper. The Sunday Leader says that 10 persons, including Thurai Raja, were arrested. This is the Colombo Telegraph. This was published on the 12th of January 2011. It says that they were arrested.
ජනවාරි මාසේ 12 වෙනිදා මොවුන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තා කියලා මේ පුවත්පත පළ කරා. Selvasu Gona, PT Thurai Raja was among 9 LTTs arrested by Swiss police in January 2011.
This is the Himalayan website. This clearly reports that 10 persons connected to the LTTE were influencing Sri Lankan Tamils there to fund them. The funds were used by the LTTE to purchase these weapons.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය දමිළ වැසියන්ට බලපෑම් කරලා බලහත්කාරයෙන් මුදල් අරගෙන LTT සංවිධානයට මුදල් ලැබුවා. ඒ මුදල් පාවිච්චි කරලා LTT සංවිධානය අවි ආයුධ ගන්න.
This is the website of the Sri Lankan Defence Ministry. Here, let me show it.
Defence website එකේ තියෙනවා. අපි මහාචාර්ය GL
We wish to say to Minister G.L. Pires, the Defence Ministry website published this article on the arrest of Thurai Raja when your secretary to the ministry was serving as the permanent mission in Geneva. Therefore, we challenge the government. You have fallen into a swamp in a bid to rescue Shenuka Seneviratne. If you want to come out of this, take the report to the Criminal Investigations Department.
සෙනුකා සෙනෙවිරත්න බේරා ගැනීම මෙහෙයුමේ මඩවලට බැහැලා ඉන්නේ දැන් ගොඩ එන්න නම් අරන් යන්න මේ වාර්තාව අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට.
Now, how did it all begin and what are the developments? You can follow the conversation on hashtag GenevaGate and follow the conversation. Over to you, Ramesh.
Thank you, Katrina. In other local news, The Independent, a news website operating from the United Kingdom, reports that the Sri Lankan government is hurriedly trying to boost the country's image by spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to hire corporate lobbyists as it awaits a UN report into alleged war crimes. A report in the US says that Sri Lanka has recently agreed to a contract with its 8th lobbying firm this year to change the way the country is perceived internationally, adding that it also wants the companies involved to improve contacts between the Sri Lankan officials as well as members of the US government.
According to the article published on the Independent website quoting a report in the Hill newspaper, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka had recently agreed a contract with the Liberty Group, a Washington-based lobbying organization owned by a former congressman from Florida. The article adds that the lobbying groups have claimed their work is valid because the current international media focus on Sri Lanka is unbalanced and that it is necessary to have a recalibration of US policy based on a wider and fairer information base, leading to a multidimensional and more balanced engagement with Sri Lanka. The Independent goes on to say that different parts of the Sri Lankan government had contracted with different lobbies, with some being retained directly by the Foreign Ministry, others by the Sri Lankan Embassy in Washington. The Independent, quoting Michael Kugelman, a South Asia expert at the Wilson Center, a Washington think tank, says that it is not unusual for foreign countries to retain lobbies in the capital, though the number hired by Sri Lanka was striking.
Welcome back to the news. The debate on the second reading of the budget took place today. Here are some of the views expressed at the debate.
The budget deficit is 1,466 million rupees. You say that the salary of the state sector employee will be increased by 15,000 rupees. This 2,200 plus the 723 totals to 2,293.
Some of the words that you used are the same terms that were used by the trade unions.
What the people feel is that we are not here for the budget debate, but for the debate on commissions. A preschool teacher is to be given 2,500 rupees. Now, Minister, please tell me, is this for all preschools or only for state preschools?
It's for registered ones.
You mean to all who are registered with the divisional secretariat? It's two different things. Let me repeat. All the preschool teachers who are registered with the divisional secretariat are to be given 2,500 rupees each. I request that the yes answer that the minister gave be included in the Hansard.
I say that the poverty level of $2, which was at 28.93, has not dropped to 18.9%. This does not speak of anything that is on this earth. Minister Vasudeva, we do not know how much our debt is.
It's not in these books, I'm telling you.
A seminar on Budget Highlights 2015 organized in Colombo yesterday. The keynote speaker at the event was Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Ajit Niwadkappa.
Today you have seen a different finance minister. Some people might say it is because of the elections that are in place or are going to come. But with or without elections, you got to have the strength to do certain reforms as well as effect certain improvements. This morning I was interviewed by a television channel and they asked me how come that the electricity charges were reduced. And is it not a election gimmick that is being put forward by the president because there may be a impending election soon? Then I said, you refer to the Mahinda Chintana vision for the future, which said very clearly, at the time that 900 megawatts of coal power is attached to the national grid, that a reduction in the electricity rates can occur. Now, on the face of it, there will be many proposals that entail new costs, and that is correct. There will be a few proposals that will bring in revenues. So obviously that would mean that there would be additional element of expenditure that may be needed. But if you take it as a total, you would find that the budget deficit is going to be reduced down to 4.6% in 2015. So it is in line with the fiscal consolidation program that the government has been putting in place.
In related news, Deputy Secretary of the Treasury Dr. BMS Bhattacharya states that this budget as well as the previous 9 budgets were aimed at moving Sri Lanka to a knowledge-based economy. Now, he made these comments at a seminar on the National Budget 2015 organized by the Department of Inland Revenue.
Usually, professionals try to evaluate and review in isolation. Last 10 years, if you look at this, all the 9 budgets are aligned to one direction. The direction is moving Sri Lanka towards a knowledge economy. The vision is by 2035, Sri Lanka should be a developed country. And this budget particularly talking about the human resource development, increasing revenue, and identify each and every single poverty groups and the comment groups to get them to the development, and also make sure the benefit of the development should flow to each communities.
UNP parliamentarian Buddhika Patharana took part in an event held in Tihagoda, Mathura today.
The event was held to present nutrition packs for underweight children. Through this we can understand the effect on the cost of living, which could be compared to the expenses that need to be borne by the people. We do not need theoretical knowledge to understand that people are living in difficulty because of high expenses. What our country needs is to provide relief to the hunger. This is the reality.
Education is essential to maintain the economic and cultural development of the country. It is through a proper educational background that leaders are born. However, a majority of schools in the country do not have the minimum educational facilities. Newsfirst brings the following report of such a school in Kilinochchi.
Students of the Mulangaville Primary School in Kilinochchi face many difficulties due to the lack of educational facilities. 390 students receive education at the Mulangaville Primary School without any proper facilities. This is the manner in which students engage in educational activities without any infrastructure. The school consists of 4 buildings in which only one classroom is made available to the students. During rainy days, students are unable to engage in educational activities as the only refuge from the downpour is a thatched roof.
Opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, speaking in Parliament today, commented on the draft proposal of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution proposed by Parliamentarian Venerable Athuraliya Rakarathera.
On certain websites, it has been noted that during the month of November, the government is hoping to present the 19th Amendment to the Constitution presented by Venerable Athuraliya Ratna as an emergency bill. The UNP would like to extend their support for this amendment. Therefore, if this is being presented as an emergency bill, we would like the government to hold discussions with us prior to presenting this. If all the others are in support of this, we would come to an agreement without having to hold a debate.
I believe that if you're all giving out points that needs to be published in websites and then discuss about this in Parliament, I believe this is an act against the Parliament. This government does not work upon the gossip that is published on websites. If an act needs to be introduced in Parliament, then let it be done in the correct manner.
Communal Secretary General Kamlesh Sharma arrived in the country this afternoon on an official visit.
According to the Ministry of External Affairs, the purpose of his visit is to follow up on the progress on the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting which was held in Sri Lanka last year. Sharma will meet President Mahinda Rajapaksa and other members of the government, including External Affairs Minister Professor G.L. Piris. Kamlesh Sharma will be in the island until the 29th and is scheduled to visit Jaffna as well.
Staying in local news, a group of employees attached to the Ceylon Electricity Board who visited a temple in Batiklo to disconnect the electricity supply to the temple had to face a rather unexpected situation. The situation, which arose with the monk verbally assaulting the employees, resulted in the police being called in to control the situation. On a lighter note, the second stage of the Sirasa FM 3-wheel carnival took place in Kuliapatiya today. This 3-wheel carnival, solely dedicated for 3-wheel drivers and their families in North Western province, was organized by the Newsfirst and Sirasa FM.
The Sirasa FM 3-wheel carnival commenced this morning at the grounds of the Technical College in Kuliapitiya. High officials of the MTV MBC organization also took part in the event.
My friends, our attempt is to change the previous ideology that comes to mind when you say a 3-wheeler driver. We are hoping to bring out their talents, their humanity, their abilities and their strengths and share it with the world. When we go down memory lane, this is the location where the Sirasa Kadamandiya took place. It was successful around the island. The first step of this program commenced in Sabaragamu and has been brought to Kuliapitiya as the second step. Next month, we will meet at another location in the country.
සබරගමුවෙන් පටන් ගත්ත පළවෙනි පියවර අද අපි දෙවෙනි පියවර විදිහට කුලියාපිටියට ගෙනල්ලා ඉන්න අනතුරුව රටේ තවත් කෙරවලක ලබන මාසයේ ඔබ හමුවට ගේන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Three-wheel carnival consists of several programs, especially for three-wheel drivers. Selecting the most attractive vehicle and three-wheeler races were some of the events at the carnival. Many items were held to entertain the families. Cash rewards were also given for the winners of the carnival. A chance to register as a Newsfirst U reporter was also given to the participants of the event. Samanala Sirasa voice tests were also held for children.
Here's a question: how many of us leave our homes without a mobile phone? How many of us use mobile phones to connect to social media sites such as Twitter and Facebook? Our mobile phones have become an integral part of our lives. It has redefined the manner in which we interact and stay in tune with the world around us. According to the latest figures issued by the MDG report, it has been revealed that there are 170 mobile phones for every 100 persons in Sri Lanka. This clearly indicates that Sri Lanka is catching up fast with the technological world, and mobile phones are exceeding the world's population.
Most of the active devices exist in Asia, particularly China, which is considered by ITU to be the main market for smartphones and cell phone growth. Currently, there are roughly 6 billion active cell phones in the world. In Sri Lanka, it has been revealed that there are 170 mobile phones for every 100 persons. Executive Director of the Institute of Policy Studies, Dr. Saman Kalegama, made this revelation in Colombo yesterday.
The telephone access, although the telephone lines per 100 population is 17, this is more than made up for by access to mobile phones. 117 mobile phones are available for 100 people. So that means one person is having more than, some of the people are having more than one mobile phone. We are doing very well in regard to telephone connectivity.
United National Party activists point out that the trust placed in the UNP leadership has deteriorated as the current leader and the opposition leader have been silent in the face of current national issues.
The opposition leader is maintained by public funds. The public spends 77 million rupees on the opposition leader annually. The opposition leader is maintained utilizing public funds to appear on behalf of public issues within and outside Parliament, to provide leadership to the opposition. He is a leader of the shadow government. However, is the current leadership fulfilling these expectations? An opposition leader who is maintained by public funds. Did he voice his concern when the issue of impeaching the former Chief Justice arose? Did he voice concern on the assault on the former High Commissioner Dr. Chris Nonis? Did he comment on the revelation made by the former permanent representative of Sri Lanka to the mission in Geneva, Tamara Kununayagam? This is how the opposition leader responded to the media after the budget was presented to Parliament yesterday. Although he does not speak out on current and national issues, the leader creates positions in the party which are not articulated in the party's constitution. He appoints a leadership council that is not mentioned in the party constitution. Takes away the powers vested in the National Executive Council. Appoints a large executive committee that mainly comprises of his aides. Yet, he is the opposition leader with benefits. Will such a leader steer the United National Party towards victory? Members of the UNP Working Committee, time is limited. Shouldn't you act now?
The Department of Meteorology states that thunder showers could develop at several places inland. Duty meteorologist Prabodhini Karunapal states that strong winds and lightning may occur due to inclement weather conditions. Meanwhile, landslides were experienced in several areas around the country due to heavy showers.
A landslide occurred in the Alulua junction along the Peradeniya Kandy road. A house was buried in a landslide which occurred in the Pitakanda area in Kandy. Meanwhile, District Secretary of Nuwara DPG Kumarasiri noted that there is a risk of rock slides along the Nuwara Gampala road due to the heavy showers experienced in the area. He added that those travelling along this route must remain vigilant. Meanwhile, 11 houses and 2 stores were left damaged when strong winds blew across Dikwava in Ipalogama in the Anuradhapura district. Chief Minister of the Central Province promised to take speedy measures to provide roofing to houses which were damaged.
The Jaffna IT Week, scheduled to be held from the 3rd to the 6th of December, is an IT industry initiative for inclusive growth and reconciliation and hopes to bridge the digital divide. A media briefing was convened yesterday with the presence of various heads from several affluent IT-affiliated bodies in order to present an overview of the Jaffna IT Week.
IT BPO is one of the fastest growing industry in the country. Over the last 5 years we've had a tremendous growth of exceeding 230%, and our vision is to get to $5 billion in revenue by year 2022, and that will create about 200,000 jobs, direct jobs and indirect about 3.5 times of indirect jobs, so altogether about 800,000 jobs in that period. So it's very important that we get access to the talent base and the capabilities of entire country. And in fact, even today, large part of IT workforce, though they are in Colombo, comes from all over the country.
On to sports news now. The 40th National Sports Festival commenced today at the Anuradhapura Sports Complex.
Although the track events of the national games were scheduled to commence at 7 this morning, the wet conditions at the venue delayed the events. Lionel Samarajiva from the Central Province won the gold in the men's 10,000 meters track event. Meanwhile, Chaturika Hemamali from the Sabaragamu Province won gold in the women's 5,000 meters event. It was Anuma Karunavansa who won gold in the women's pole vault event at the National Games in Anuradhapura. NCD Pradakshini, representing the Western Province, won gold in the women's triple jump, while her teammate TK Fernando won the gold in the women's putt shot. The opening ceremony of the event was presided by Minister of Sports Mahinda Nanda Alutkamage this evening. Provincial sports officers were not present for the march past today as they boycotted the National Games. The reason for this action was receiving no response to their demand to increase their wages since 2006. The Olympic torch was lit by sportsman Kasun Kalhara and veteran sportswoman M.A. Chandravati.
A senior Google Vice President, Alan Eustace, has broken the world altitude record for a parachute jump set in 2012 by Austrian Felix Baumgartner. The 57-year-old leapt in a specially designed spacesuit, reaching speeds of more than 1,300 kilometers per hour. He exceeded the speed of sound, setting off a small sonic boom, and set several skydiving records in the process as well. We leave you tonight with some breathtaking visuals of this jump. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ramesh Rukal Bandara. Good night.